We have just come back from closed session, and I'd ask our attorney, did we have anything to report out of closed session?
No action taken in closed session.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and go into open session, and would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Ania.
Here.
Councilmember Shalom.
Here.
Councilmember Murray.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gastineau.
Here.
And Mayor Hawley.
Here. Thank you very much. So would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, again, welcome to those who just entered the room. The first matter on our agenda today is resolution, and that is resolution number 2014-29, a resolution of the City of Crescent City recognizing the service of K-9 Officer Apollo. And Apollo is with us this evening, I believe. Apollo, are you here? Apollo's back there. Very good. So I have this resolution. I'd like to go ahead and read it in full. Okay, Apollo, this is your resolution, buddy. Okay.
Hi, baby.
Thank you.
Hi.
Okay, welcome, Apollo. Okay, whereas K-9 Officer Apollo began his honorable service with the the Crescent City Police Department on November 5, 2007, and whereas K-9 Officer Apollo has completed numerous hours of routine maintenance training to include obedience, tracking, narcotic detection, and patrol work. This training was completed both on and off duty. Whereas in K-9 Officer Apollo's service to the community, he has been deployed numerous times for a variety of circumstances, including searching vehicles for illegal narcotics, searching for wanted subjects, conducting foot patrols, and serving as backup while violent suspects were being taken into custody. Whereas, in addition to his service to the Crescent City Police Department, K-9 Officer Apollo has been utilized by various departments, including the Del Norte County Sheriff's Office, the California Highway Patrol, and California State Parks. And whereas, and I have some new statistics here, and whereas Apollo's lifetime accomplishments include over 1,300 deployments, and 8 other agency requests, countless presentations and demonstrations, 327 of various prescription drugs, 1,477 pieces of paraphernalia, 2.5 ounces of concentrated cannabis, 27.5 ounces of meth, and over 19 pounds of marijuana. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Crescent City recognizes the honorable service of K-9 Officer Apollo and his contribution to the betterment of life for the citizens of Crescent City. So, thank you for being here, and congratulations, Officer Apollo. Chief Plack has a few more words to say on this. Chief?
Come on over here. Tonight is obviously a very bittersweet moment for the Crescent City Police Department, and I believe for the community as well, as we say goodbye to one of the most trusted, hard-working members of the police department. Throughout the numerous changes the city has experienced over the last several years, there has always been one thing that remains constant: the importance of having a flourishing K-9 program to promote the safety of our police officers as well as the community in general, and most significantly, to help stop the flow of narcotics into our community. Yes, it's difficult to have a K-9 program continue year after year, particularly during the current trying economic times. Nonetheless, the community at large has been very and extremely supportive of our K-9 unit, as has our present and our past City Council. And I would like to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation for all of their support. I would also like to thank the pioneers that helped so much to ensure that the program got off the ground and did flourish. The Crescent City Women's Club, and those numerous community members who donated monetary and in-kind services so that the program could prevail and develop to what it is today. Our recognition would certainly not be complete without sending out our deepest gratitude to the foundation that has been the backbone of our financial support and has allowed the K-9 unit to have the necessary equipment and supplies, attend specialized training, maintain the K-9's daily needs, and provide them with the necessity of good health care that has been associated with having a K-9 unit for the past 10 years. To all of you, I extend a heartfelt thank you. In November 2007, the Crescent City Police Department purchased Apollo from the English Police Academy in Oxnard, California. K-9 Apollo graduated from the post-mandated patrol K-9 school. Now, this training consisted of the certification in narcotics detection, obedience handler protection, building area searches, and tracking. In May 2008, Officer King and Apollo graduate from the K-9 Police Academy, and thereafter the team was California Post certified in the detection of methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, ecstasy. It should be noted that this grueling training process is not a day-long or a week-long process, but a 2-month, where the handler and their dog is in the process of bonding with each other and immerse themselves to be a state-certified team. Apollo is what we call a dual-purpose trained dog, meaning he is certified in narcotics detection as well as protection, which enhances his service in providing for the safety of the city residents and his partner, preserving the bond the handler has with the K-9. Officer King and Apollo, along with all the local law enforcement agencies, have certainly worked together, as well as the National State Parks, Fish and Wildlife, as well as CAL FIRE, in addition to the ones that Mayor Hawley just presented. Apollo has been deployed for narcotics detection, most of which consisted of narcotic searches of vehicles, probation searches, search warrants, as well as locker and vehicle searches at the high school. Apollo has developed quite a reputation among your law enforcement communities and was requested and deployed by all of them for patrol work, and this includes all of the local law enforcement agencies north of us in Oregon. Apollo has also been involved in the crime-free multi-housing program that the police department introduced several years ago for the benefit of our residents to rid their homes of any drugs known as Dogs Detecting Drugs Discreetly program. Being a public service dog requires drive and dedication, but due to the rigorous nature of the assignment, it does overtake time, a toll on the dog. But keep in mind, the training emphasizes fun for the dog, and they get so excited to go to work every day, as you can see even today. The bond between the handler and the dog also grows each and every day, as they are always together while working on the street and while off duty as well. There is not only a bond between the dog and the handler, but when you have a department that is blessed with not one, but 2 K-9 units and their handlers, the 2 teams work together frequently, and the handlers care for each other's dog as necessary. As such, not only do the dogs develop a bond with their handler, but with their other K-9 unit team members as well. Especially the dogs themselves develop their own bond. They all work hard and they play hard. As with their human counterparts, as a police dog age, the stress of their demanding jobs and fun activities sometimes can be costly to their health. Currently, Apollo is getting older, just like any of us, has had some medical issues that are associated with getting older and the rigors of being a police service dog. So in order for Apollo to experience a quality of life in retirement, a decision was made that it would be in his best interest to be retired and begin to enjoy the good life he so deserves. It was also the opinion of professionals involved that this option would be best serve Apollo's interests as well as the city and his handler. Apollo has performed admirably for the citizens of this city for 7 years. In addition to the protection of the Crescent City citizens, Apollo acted as a 4-legged liaison between the police department and school children of all ages. Apollo has performed multiple school demonstrations showing children that these amazing animals are not to be feared. Apollo was an expert in going from children pulling on his ears 1 minute to pulling on his tail the next, to striking fear into the hearts of those who would wish to do others harms. Apollo is balanced, he's kind, and intimidating, all at the same time, and in all the appropriate instances. So at this stage of Apollo's life, where he is to retire, you're probably wondering what will happen to him. Well, Officer Aaron King, who is K-9 Apollo's sole handler, has respectfully requested that Apollo retire and live his days out as his own personal lapdog. Apollo says, wait, there's more. There was one stipulation, though. Officer King did not want to place any additional stress on Apollo as he continues to be excited by the thought of going to work each day with Aaron. Officer King, who has been K-9 handler for over 7 years and has done a remarkable job, has requested to be reassigned from the K-9 unit to patrol operations, which means you will continue to see Aaron on patrol, but without Apollo. Being a K-9 handler for as long as Officer King has been, downtime is much needed, but his love for the K-9 and involved in the K-9 program continues to grow, as he is in the process of becoming a California Post K-9 evaluator, which allows him to evaluate K-9 teams throughout the state to be certified by Post standards. Thank you, Aaron, for recognizing the importance and taking on this labor of love for so many years in the future. The city has agreed to accept the agreement, and now Apollo will be resting in familiar surroundings with people and his handler that he has trained, played, and worked with the protection of the community. Finally, I also would like to inform you that the foundation that has so graciously provided for our K-9 units recognize that Apollo will need continuing veterinary care and medication as he ages, and has graciously agreed to cover those expenses for Apollo. Apollo has served gallantly and now will be retired to a restful life with less demanding expectations, so therefore it is well deserved. So at this time, we bid Apollo farewell. We wish him a long and restful retirement that he has earned with his partner and his family, and we know he is in good hands. So. All right, all right.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for being here, officer. Okay. I appreciate your words, Chief. That was very nice. And I hope that Officer Apollo will be as happy in retirement as I have been. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what he's waiting.
How about that?
Yeah.
They do smell good.
He wants a treat.
Okay.
Maybe Apollo will share.
Yep.
That's very good.
Is there something in your pocket, Mr.
Yeah,
Palazzo?
Okay. Well, that was great. That'll be fun for all of us to watch on TV later as well. Again, thank you all for being here for that occasion. So we'll have to move on to our consent calendar, and I don't know if the officers wanted to stay. You're welcome. A couple hours? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Okay. Very good. Okay, so we'll move on to our consent calendar. The consent calendar at this time consists of the approval of regular meeting minutes from June 16, 2014, receiving and filing the warrant claims list for the period of June 17 through July 7th, receiving and filing the biweekly payroll reports for June 14 through June 20, confirmation of Ms. Mary Wilson as the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority public member appointment, and consideration and authorizing the city manager to sign an agreement entitled Crescent City Police Department K-9 Transfer Contract in regards to Police K-9 Apollo, Officer Apollo to K-9 Officer Aaron King. So the consent calendar is before us, and I understand we may have.
Mayor, I'd like to pull item number 5, the confirmation of Ms. Wilson.
Okay, thank you. Item number 5 is pulled. We now have before us items, well, they're listed as being 2, 3, 4, and 6.
I would move to approve items 2, 3, 4, and 6, please.
Second.
Okay, thank you. There's been a motion and a second to approve those items. Any discussion, any public discussion on those items on the consent calendar? Okay, we'll bring it back to the council. Would you please poll the vote?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Councilmember Shalom?
Yes.
Councilmember Ania?
Yes.
Councilmember Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gastineau?
Yes.
And Mayor Hawley.
Yes. Okay, thank you. The one item that was pulled was item number 5, and that was confirmation of Ms. Mary Wilson as Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority public member. Councilmember Murray.
Yes, I strongly object to the confirmation for the following reasons. Her term expired, so I believe that we should bring it back and have the opportunity for other public members to apply for the position. I do believe that Ms. Wilson has had the opportunity. I understand that the Solid Waste Board suggested that her term be extended because it's a large learning curve. However, Ms. Wilson was the chair of the ad hoc committee for several years, so I believe that she has had an opportunity to learn. I also believe that she is not an objective person to be on that board, and those are my reasons.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion or questions amongst the council? Okay, any public input into this? Yes.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Henry. I live in the county, but I attend the Solid Waste Authority meetings regularly. My only comment would be that I look back on when they appointed Ms. Wilson and the previous appointments, I think a couple of them. It was a very competitive process. I think both times there are 6 or more people applying, so it's actually a position that people want and want to participate in, and so I think it's really more fair to have kind of a turnover in a public member, because I also think it's very important that they represent the public. And like, as you know, and I've been on boards, after a while, when you're on a board, you tend to kind of become part of that and maybe not as much of the public, though I know you all represent the public. So I think it's really important to keep that position moving, and so other public members can serve on that board. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Yes. Oh, and when you come up with public comment, please mention who you are and whether you're county or city. Okay?
Yeah, Don Gillespie, speaking for myself. I just want to say that I think Mary Wilson has done a good job of making her main point, that the city businesses are paying high monthly amounts for their garbage, and that's why she came on the board, to speak up for the local businesses. She's done that, and I think variety lends itself to other points of view, and it'd be good to open it up again.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? Okay, seeing no other comments, I'd like to bring it back to the council. I would like to clarify just a couple of things. Mr. Gastineau and I sit on the Solid Waste Management Board, and just for a little clarity's sake, the interest was to have Ms. Wilson just serve until March, I think it's March of 2015, yes, 2015. And the idea being, we thought that that would allow in future years, we'd be able to get it, the management authority may change in January of each year. So that gives that organization an opportunity to get together and decide on their public member in the future. And so the March period of time would give them time to get ready to do that each year. You'd have the right public member for the people that are they're appointed to the authority. The other part of this, though, is that the Solid Waste Management Authority is considering making it a 2-year term. And the 2-year term, the idea is that there's a lot of complexity to the Solid Waste Management Authority activities, and that it's a real steep learning curve, and to just do 1 year at a time is kind of difficult. So that's where I think the authority was heading. So that's kind of what's before us, is just kind of authorizing the appointment through March of 2015, at which time it'll be open to everyone in a very public environment. So any other questions or comments?
I would just say that that makes sense to me. And I agree that having that position open for anyone to apply is the way it should be. But I also sat on that board for many years and completely agree that it's one of the most complex boards I've ever sat on. And I understand the direction you're trying to take.
Thank you.
I do agree it's a very complex board. However, Ms. Wilson was on the ad hoc committee, so she was very aware of all the complex issues being on the ad hoc committee. So I don't think that that's the best argument to give, and that's just my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments amongst the council? So this matter is before us. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 5 on the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Nia and seconded by Mr. Gastineau to approve number 5. That's the confirmation of Mary Wilson to the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority public member position. So would you please poll the vote on this?
Yes,
Since this
sir.
is polled? Thank you.
Yes. Councilmember Murray,
No.
Councilmember Shalong,
Yes.
Councilmember Ania,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gastineau,
Yes.
and Mayor Hawley.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So moving on to reports and presentations, we have none. And then we move into our public comment period. Any member of the audience is invited to address the City Council on any matter that is within the jurisdiction of the City of Crescent City. Comments of public interest or on matters appearing on the agenda are accepted. Note, however, that the Council is not able to undertake extended discussion or act on non-agendized items. Such items can be referred to staff for appropriate action, which may include placement on a future agenda. Any comments that are not at the microphone are out of order and will not be a part of the public record. After receiving recognition from myself, please state your name and city or county residency for the record. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. And I do want to say before we start this, I think probably many of you are here to talk about the mining issue that's out there, and that will be coming up in the very near future. You may want to wait to do so, but if you want to make public comment at this time, you may, but you may not get another opportunity when we get to that other item. So, public comment, City of Crescent City. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Linda Sutter, County. Currently, there are 30,000 acres which are unprotected and open to mining of the North Fork Smith River watershed. Red Flat Nickel Corporation has submitted a mining plan of operation for Phase 2 of the Cleopatra project test drilling in the watershed of the scenic North Fork Smith River in Oregon. The company's goal is to develop and operate a mine to extract nickel, cobalt, and chromium. The area where the corporation wants to develop a surface mine is in a reference watershed, an inventoried roadless area, and a recommended addition to the Kamiapis wilderness. Such a mine would cause injury to streams the Forest Service has found eligible to become wild and scenic rivers, and the congressionally protected National Wild and Scenic North Fork Smith River. These are some of the purest waters in the West, with outstanding runs of wild salmon, steelhead, and cutthroat trout. The North Fork Smith is treasured by whitewater boaters. It provides pure drinking water for downstream communities. The watersheds where where the mining is proposed are pristine. Large-scale surface mining would drastically alter them forever. According to reports compiled by the Environmental Protection Agency, the metal mining industry is the largest toxic polluter in the nation. In '98, at the same time, citizens were filing a class action lawsuit against Glenbrook Nickel. The EPA proposed regulations to address the hazardous air pollutants at the company's nickel smelter near Riddle, Oregon. The proposed rules outlined some of the serious human health and environmental impacts associated with metal mining and processing. Scientists are finding metal contamination can cause fish to lose their sense of smell, thus affecting their ability to mate, find food, and avoid predators. Nickel specifically attacks neurons that helps fish smell food. As for humans, too much intake of nickel causes high chances of lung cancer, nose cancer, larynx cancer, and prostate cancer, lung embolism, respiratory failure, birth defects, asthma, chronic bronchitis, and heart. Is it over? No. Okay. So it should be noted that Red Flat Nickel Corporation made only vague assertions about cleanup. Worse, the company has no plan for dealing with groundwater contaminated by mine waste other than to let it flow haphazardly across the land if it reaches the surface. So, keep in mind, sampling turns into small-scale production and launches into large-scale development of strip mines. Please save the pristine and sacred Smith River. Reject strip mining. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, again, if you just came in, we're going to have this on here in a minute, that is discussion, but you're welcome to make a public comment at this time. Any other public comment? Okay, very good. So we'll move the general public comment period, and we'll move down to public hearings. Tonight we have a public hearing to consider and approve resolution number 2014-28, amending the 2010 Crescent City Urban Water Management Plan, and we'll take action as necessary and appropriate. Mr. Palazzo.
Mayor Hawley, I'd have Mr. Weir, our Public Works Director, present this item.
Thank you. Mr. Weir.
Good evening, Mayor Hawley, members of the council. Yes, what's before you tonight is to approve an amendment to the city's 2012 Urban Water Management Plan. The Urban Water Management Plans are required via the Urban Water Management Act that was passed over a decade ago. They're required of water purveyors that serve over 3,000 people, which the city is one. They're required to be updated every 5 years, so this won't go away. It's due again actually in 2015, which will be before the council in 2016, because it requires the data collection of the year 2015. The basic intent of the plan is to ensure that all water purveyors that serve a large amount of people, over 3,000 customers, have adequate water supplies to meet not only current demands but also future demands. One of the key elements in the plan is to have the water purveyors have a 20% reduction by 2020. So it was 20% in 20 years in 2020. So when they passed it, it was based on a starting year of 2000, the year 2000, of which the city has already met that by the number. So the water that we were actually using per capita in the early years between 2000 and 2010, we've already seen that 20% reduction. The plan is also required per Assembly Bill 1420, which is the state's drought program. And that's what it's tied to with a lot of the grants that we apply for. So the grant that we recently applied for with the elevated tank requires that we have a current and approved urban water management plan. So the council approved this back in 2012. The state has reviewed it, came back to us with comments and updates that they would like to see. And so that's what's before you tonight, is to approve these updates and improvements. To facilitate this, we've hired Oren Proctor with Freshwater Environmental. He's actually here tonight, and so he'll tell you about some of the specifics in the amendment that's before you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Oren Proctor with Freshwater Environmental Services, and I appreciate your being here tonight. The updates to the plan, the primary update was using a GIS methodology for determining the baseline populations in 2000 and 2010. So that's where all their projections are based on. And so And we needed to include the population of the Pelican Bay Prison into our analysis. And so what we did is we took the GIS and census data and actually looked at census blocks that were split on your service area, counted houses, and have a very precise, you know, the more population you have, the better it is for your goals and things. And so we did a meticulous hand accounting of the population 2000, 2010. And when that changes, when we change our population, then we have population projections into the future, then the goals, our gallons per capita per day goals changed with those as well. We already are meeting our 20 by 2020 goal, although there's, in the past couple of years, they're showing as an increase in the gallons per capita per day. It's kind of creeping up on us. And so it's important that we keep that in mind, and that's why conservation is important. There's another element that was updated was the demand management measures. There's a requirement to implement 14 water conservation measures. They're the same for AB 1420 as they are for the Urban Water Management Plan. And so what we were able to do is go in and do cost-benefit analysis. The Urban Water Management Plan Act says you either have to implement, you have to schedule to implement and budget, or you can do a cost-benefit analysis to demonstrate that it's not cost-effective. Actually, they just want a cost-benefit analysis is all they need to check the box that we did one. So there were several water conservation areas that we were able to not have to implement those programs because of the cost-benefit analysis. And on AB 1420, which is all the same 14, there's different ways to get out of those. So it's a complicated set of 14 water conservation measures that are tied to urban water management and AB 1420. And when it comes to funding for all your water projects, you have to be in compliance with these things. And so that's the way that this state is trying to impress upon everybody how important water conservation is. And it'll be something that you'll have some additional programs here in coming years that will get the message out about water conservation.
Okay.
So I'm here for questions.
Well, thank you. So any questions? Yes, Kelly.
I was just curious what percentage of population growth you used.
We're doing a, between 2000 and 2010, it increased by 5%. The city increased by 5% and Del Norte by 4%. And so we estimated future populations using a 0.5% per year. So we took that.
0.5%?
0.5% per year. So it's 5 over 10 years, so we just said per year, we're just going to do a 0.5.
And then you said that the gallons per day water usage has been creeping up. What percentage is that?
What we,
Sorry.
it's all right.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, we're good, it's all here. So, you know, since 2000, or 1999, there's been a steady and dramatic decrease in water consumption, most likely related to a rating structure that had an impact on driving conservation. In 2010, you bottomed out and you were less than 2,000, or less than 110 gallons per person. And then since 2010, you've been going up about 1 gallon per person. You're up to about 113 gallons per person per day. 50 is what they say is what's necessary for life and safety is 50 gallons per person per day.
Interesting. Thank you.
I just wanted to compliment, you did say a meticulous report, and it was very complex and very thorough, so it was a very, very good report, so thank you.
Thank you. I have a question, though, about, there's one section that talks about recycled water. And I don't know how we go about doing that, but it is a tremendous possible use for our beachfront park, mainly. And we were talking about 250,000 gallons per day that we could recycle into the park, and I wondered how that would happen.
We've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah, but I know we talked about the sewer water, but is recycled water the same thing?
It is,
Okay.
you know, so that's recycled water from the treatment plant, which is,
Right.
you know, one benefit of the type of improvements that we did do to the treatment plant is it allows us, when feasible, to actually have the ability to use that recycled water. And it's actually as much as about 1 million gallons a day is what can go through the MBR and be then reused as recycled water. It's just not feasible at this time. There was some funding for it a number of years ago, but it wasn't enough to actually build the system that we needed to irrigate Beachfront Park.
We were also looking at trying to use it to heat the pool and run it underground, and by the time it got to the pool, it would be able to heat the pool, but that particular project didn't meet the state requirements for the funding.
Well, maybe as the drought tend to worsen, they'll loosen up on some of those restrictions. I don't know.
Exactly, and it definitely gives the city an opportunity to utilize that particular resource at a future date.
Okay.
Eric, when you first started out your presentation, you said that 2010 urban water plan, you said 2012, and on our resolution it says 2010 urban water management plan amendment,
So it's technically the 2010 urban water management plan that we're updating. It was before the council, and actually it was early 2012 because we needed that 2010 data and then put the plan together. So that's the confusion between the dates.
Correct.
It's 2010 is what you're updating.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions of these gentlemen?
About the recycled water.
Yes, sir.
Is that, you're judged by gallons per capita per day, and using recycled water is one direct way that you get an offset, so that for that 1 million gallons you use, that takes off of, that comes off, you get benefit from that.
Okay.
And there's very few ways to get benefit, like water conservation, fixing your leaks, are the ways that you're going to gain capacity, and if you can use that recycled water.
Okay, thank you very much. Great report.
And I think that's in the report too, is fixing the leaks. Yeah.
So, let's see. This is a public hearing, and do we have any of the public that would like to speak to this matter? Yes. You'll need to come to the mic, please. Yes.
Linda Sutter, County. I just want to know, I keep hearing urban water management plan applied to Crescent City. Is that accurate to say? Okay. Why are we urban? Because we're rural.
State doesn't see a difference. We're a city. They
So
call us
you're
urban.
telling me the state is calling us urban?
Okay, call us urban.
It's based on population.
Yeah.
Based upon population. And the state bases this upon population, right?
Right.
Okay, I just got to do some research. Thank
Thank you. Any other public comment during this public hearing? Okay.
I'm Connie Morrison from the county. In the agenda, it said it's about the charges, delinquent sewage charges. Is that this one?
That's the next matter.
Oh, okay. Okay, I want to say something about it. There's all kinds of new technology about toilets and Swedish toilets that they take care of the waste themselves, and it becomes biodegradable, which would eliminate the whole thing about wastewater treatment plant. I can get into recycled water, except when it comes to the toilet. Showers, no problem,
Okay.
All that stuff. But wouldn't it be neat if everybody had their own little toy that took care of everything, and when it needed emptied or whatever you do with it, it goes out in the garden and becomes nutrients. And that way the city doesn't have to trip on this wastewater treatment plant. And you could recycle the used stuff back to the homes for gardening and all that. Just a thought.
Thank you. Any other public comment during this public hearing? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring this back to the council. It's before us.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2014-28, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Crescent City adopting the 2010 Urban Water Management Plan Amendment.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for resolution number 2014-28. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, would you please poll the vote?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ania?
Yes.
Councilmember Shalong?
Yes.
Councilmember Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gastineau?
Yes.
And Mayor Hawley.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for your hard work, gentlemen, on that report. Next, we're going to have another public hearing, and we're going to consider and approve a resolution entitled Resolution Number 2014-27, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Crescent City, California, determining the amount of delinquent sewer charges for certain parcels of property and authorizing the collection thereof with ordinary property taxes. will take action as necessary and appropriate. Mr. Palazzo.
Yeah, Mayor Hawley, members of council, I'm going to do just a very brief staff report on this. This is an annual resolution that we bring before the city council on properties that are delinquent with their sewer payments. This year, there's approximately about 52 parcels that are delinquent. Letters have been sent out. Since we have sent those letters, we've received about $3,500 worth of payments on some of these delinquencies. This evening, what we're asking the council to do is they'll hold a public hearing on this item, then have the council either revise, change, reduce, or modify any of these charges or overrule any and all objections, and adopt attached resolution so we can pursue, the next steps in collecting the delinquencies. The other item, I wanted to just ask of the council at this point, it's kind of been the historically, when we provide a list of delinquencies to the city council, we just include addresses. Did a little research, can't seem to find anything that would prohibit us from providing names and addresses. I think it's been a policy decision over the years to just provide the addresses, but if the council would like us in the future to provide both names and addresses, we can do that as well.
Okay, thank you. Do you need an answer on that now? No.
Just
Okay,
a
we
policy
can deal with that
decision
next
that we can, think about.
Very good. So I'll bring it back to the council for questions.
Do you have any questions?
Concerns? Questions?
I wanted to know if that 3,500 that we've received, or approximate, is taken off this report?
No, the report that you received in the packet is $29,689 and 31 cents. What we've received so far for exact amount is $3,564.60.
So the actual total due to us is more like
$26,000.
Okay.
$124.
That's what I wanted to know.
71 cents.
And I'm going to guess that I'm looking through the list and I'm thinking that probably about 90% of these are in the county.
They're all in the county.
Okay.
Typically, it's the delinquencies are on properties that we just service sewer, not water.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of those county residents prefer to pay their sewer on their tax roll. So I'm going to guess we're going to get that money when they get their tax bill. But just for your direction, I would say that I don't need names for the future. The address is plenty of information for me.
Okay.
How far in the rears are they, like 120 days or?
I'll have our finance director answer that question. That's a good question.
Good evening, Emily.
Good evening, Emily Boyd, Finance Director. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The newest one would be over 90 days, and many of them go further back than 90 days.
Okay.
And what have we done to kind of collect these before they get this far past due?
We send past due notices.
And we haven't attempted to shut them off so they don't get this far past due? I mean, what are we doing to prevent them from getting this far past due?
Right. If it's a sewer-only account, it's really not something that we can disconnect or turn off.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Emily. Any other questions of Emily? Okay, thanks. Okay. This is a public hearing, and I'd invite anyone that wanted to speak to this matter, raise your hand, please, and I'll recognize you to come up for a public comment. Okay. Do you want to come and speak to this? It seemed like you wanted to earlier. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset about this whole raising people's rates, especially when it comes to the water. You were all here when the big brouhaha happened about 218 and the rates. I find it a little contrived. This is by Michelle Rambo, and she's talking about in her City of Crescent City housing element that we want to make sure people, especially low-income people, have a place to stay. And she was going to do everything in her power, including talking with HUD to find a developer who can develop low-income properties and make sure that HUD pays for these low-income properties. And other things that it will is the Housing Authority will coordinate with HUD on the issuance of HUD preservation vouchers should a local project-based assisted housing complex with a eligible opt out of their contract with HUD to rent their units as market rents. They also said that they could have density impact. So they were very concerned at this point in time about people, income and low-income people. And then on the other hand, you guys go and pass a resolution, an ordinance to add fees and penalties and interest on their wastewater treatment plant bills if they don't get them in, which then leads to foreclosure on their houses, which then leads to them needing free or low-income housing or becoming homeless. And to have such a drastic result from not being able to pay your utility bill to go down to being foreclosed on just seems really unjust when Mr. Barnes had every opportunity given to him for his low-income properties, loans, grants, HUD, all this kind of stuff. It just seems really inappropriate to foreclose on people, and especially during this time, and considering at one point in time, if you couldn't pay your property taxes, there was provisions to be able to just borrow or pay them later, I guess, but to be foreclosed on as a result is not fair.
Thank you. Any other comments on the public hearing? Yes, on this matter. Pardon? Did you already?
I talked on the other one. Is this about the water?
This is about the collection of past due sewer rates by, okay.
I just have a little question. It has to pertain with sewer and water. So, like, at Pelican Bay State Prison, there's like 2,691 inmates there. So my question is, does Pelican Bay State Prison pay about $228,000 a month for the water and sewer that they use?
You know, I don't think we're going to answer your questions from
Okay,
here.
that's fine, but it's just something to keep in mind because every one of us out here have to pay whatever it is a month for the sewer and the water, right? And by all rights, I mean, that's, even though it's a prison, there's 2,691, and we include that as part of the city. But if they're not paying their fair share, and it's stuck on the backs of the 5,000 people, you know, and then you want to kick people out of their houses because they can't pay their bills. Go figure.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to comment on that. The prison has their own sewer treatment plant.
Oh, but, okay.
Okay, they just get water. Okay. Any other questions? Or, excuse me, comments? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jack Armstrong. I'm from Crescent City.
Hi, Jack.
I've owned a house in town here about 8 or 9 years, in which time my sewage rates have doubled, and not too pleased about it. I wasn't involved in the negotiations with the new sewage plant and all, but I have built in rural areas, and there is, as the young lady mentioned, self-composting toilets that can now be had between $2,000 and $3,000 a piece. Just that money alone could possibly preclude the amount of legal endeavors that go on to pick up a couple $1,000s from this person or a couple thousand from them or evicting their property or what have you. It might just be an option for the city to consider that when somebody doesn't have the money to hook up or 80 or 90 bucks a month to keep hooked up, that the city consider this person can't afford it. Maybe if the city assisted them with a self-composting toilet, they could keep the effluent down in the city's brand new system, eliminate some of the new maintenance that will come up, and I'm sure I'm going to get the bill sounded like a very decent option, at least something maybe the city could consider. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comment on the collection of delinquent sewer income? Any other public comment? Okay, we'll bring it back to the council for further.
I just wanted to clarify that this is not us turning any sewer systems off. This is just us allowing the people that have not paid their bill to have it added to their taxes. That's all this is doing. Just wanted to make sure everybody understood that.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other comments, questions? Okay, so this is before us. Any?
I'll move to adopt Resolution 2014-27, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Crescent City, California, determining the amount of delinquent sewer charges for certain parcels of property and authorizing the collection thereof with ordinary property taxes.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 2014-27. Any further discussion? No, yes, the public comment is completed on this item. Would you please poll the vote?
I have a request, Mayor.
Yes.
Can we amend the motion to include giving credit to those parcels who, since the letter going out, have contributed to paying the $3,564.60, because that's an update to this list that's in front of you, so we want to make sure we give those parcels their credit.
Okay, I would ask, it was your motion. Good luck.
How would I amend that?
Just amend the motion to include giving credit to the parcels that have made payments since the letters.
So I do amend my motion to give credit to the parcels that have made payment on their delinquent bills.
Okay, thank you.
I'll amend my second.
Okay, the motion has been amended and seconded. So, any other discussion now? Okay, very good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Would you please poll the vote?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Murray?
Yes.
Councilmember Shalong?
Yes.
Councilmember Ania?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gastineau?
Yes.
And Mayor Hawley?
Yes. Okay, thank you. So, we have no continuing business this evening, but we do have some new business. We're going to receive a report and discussion regarding submittal of a letter to the Oregon Department of Water Resources opposing the application for a limited water use license, LL-1533, submitted by the Red Flat Nickel Corporation. And so I'd ask Mr. Palazzo to start us off.
Yeah, Mayor Hawley, I'll have Ms. Rice, our city attorney, present this item.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Wright?
So recently, the city was informed that Red Flat Nickel Corporation has submitted an application to the Oregon Water Resources Department applying for a limited use water license in conjunction with the Cleopatra Check drilling program, which is located in southern Oregon within the Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest. What this project is to do is to check and see if there are minerals that they would like to then propose mining. So at this point, they're just checking to see what is in the ground. In order to do that, they are requesting that they be allowed to appropriate water from an unnamed creek, which is actually a tributary to Taylor Creek, which flows into Baldface Creek, which flows into the North Fork Smith River. As you all know, the Smith River is the indirect source for the city's municipal water supply. So staff felt it was appropriate to review this issue, and since public comments on this proposed limited license are due tomorrow, bring it to council and get some direction as to what type of comment you'd like to submit. We've included a draft letter of public comment, and the two areas of concern that impact the city as a municipal corporation providing a municipal water service is that this could potentially impact both the quality of the water and the quantity of the water. Either of those could impact our municipal water supply. At this point, The application is still in with the U.S. Forest Service for this project. The environmental review has not been completed. So the way that the city's letter is drafted is that request the Oregon Department of Water Resources not issue the permit until all of the environmental review has been completed and reviewed.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Council Rice?
I had just one, it's probably an ignorant question, but when you say that the California State Water Resources Control Board has declared the Smith River to be fully appropriated year-round, what does that mean?
Well, it means on the California side of the border, the river actually runs up into southern Oregon. So on the, or at least many of the tributaries do. So on the California side, the California would not issue any more licenses or permits for taking water out of the river. They've
So the licensures are fully appropriated?
Yes, they've
Okay.
declared it fully appropriated. However, the river crosses borders, and in Oregon, apparently it's not, and there's currently not an agreement regarding the river and appropriating waters out of it, so.
And so has the California board made comment to the Oregon board?
I don't know if they have. They definitely should. I think we were checking into that.
We haven't heard back.
We didn't hear back, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other council questions? I will say that I have received some comments, both by telephone calls and by emails, among them Steve Anderson, who has expressed that he had an illness and he couldn't be here tonight, opposing the mining operation.
Who's Steve Anderson?
Steve Anderson is a city resident, and he called me on the phone. Roy Tetson provided an email where he and his wife are adamantly opposed to this, and I believe we all got other emails as well. So I
We
know the
also
beats.
received a public letter from the Elk Valley Rancheria.
Right, thank you. We just
Objecting.
received that. Good. So if there's no other questions of staff, then we'll go ahead and open this up to public comment. So is there any public comment regarding the water use license submitted by the Red Flat Nickel Corporation and what you'd like to see the city council do in relationship to that? So, yes, public comment? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. City Council members, Grant Worskell, Smith River Alliance, in the county, but not in the city. I have visited with most of you over the last several months about this issue. We had a very well-attended, I guess you could call it town hall meeting at the Lighthouse Inn. About 100 people came to that. 2 of the council members were present, as well as staff. And, you know, been before our 2 Rotary clubs, and, you know, basically anybody that would potentially be interested in hearing about this. And the fact of the matter is, it's been about a year that this particular corporation, they had 2 very large claim blocks. One of the claim blocks is just east of Gold Beach, and I think it was in the record that Curry County has very strongly opposed the claim block area that's just east of Gold Beach. That is the only claim block area where environmental documents have been provided. But notwithstanding that, you have this application for water for the claim block, which is, you know, right here in the headwaters of the Smith River, and it's also the headwaters of the Illinois. So we agree with staff's recommendation that the timing is out of sequence, and I think, you know, quite frankly, you know, I've had many conversations with the Forest Service up there, from the forest supervisor to the staff level. I believe that they are somewhat overwhelmed, with the amount of comments that came in on that first claim block. Those comments were due in December. They had hundreds, several hundred, and they're behind. They had indicated that they would be releasing environmental documents for the claim block, which is in the headwaters of the Smith. They had indicated that would be forthcoming months ago. And it is an overwhelming undertaking to do an environmental analysis on a strip mine, which the project proponent, the Red Flat Nickel Corporation, has clearly said this drilling is a step in that direction. If you go on the Forest Service's website, the plan of operations is available there, and it specifically says this is a step in that direction. So the whole issue of strip mining is absolutely overwhelming in terms of the impact. So any type of impact that you might care about, whether it's plants, wildlife, people, water quality, water quantity, air, public access, if you name one, mining is bad for it. You know, it is the largest source of toxic pollution in the United States. And I think here in our community, and one of the reasons you've seen so much comment is that we realize there's a connection between our river, our redwoods, our community, our economy, certainly our water system. So one thing, and I'm happy to come back and provide more information. I've done a lot of homework about nickel, where it comes from now, what percent is recycled. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I will leave staff with a CD which has about a 900, it's 80-some pages of petitions, signed petitions. And about several hundred of those individual signatures are California residents. They're all over California, but they're all over the world too. And there was a Gasky resident that collected these, and he downloaded the petition from American Rivers, which is a national group, and then had people sign. So I can leave that with staff.
Okay, thank you. Our 3 minutes has expired, so, but I appreciate you being here tonight.
And just let me know if you have other questions, and I'm
all the
happy
work
to.
you do. Okay. You know, thank you very much again. You know, we want to continue with public comment, but before we do, I think it would be beneficial for us to read what it is we're proposing to send. And so, probably just as easy if I read it. Dear Director Ward, it has come to the attention of the City Council of the City of Crescent City that Red Flat, maybe it's not easier for me to say it, Red Flat Nickel Corporation has submitted an application to the OWRD for a limited use water license in conjunction with the Cleopatra Czech drilling program located in southern Oregon within the Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest. Red Flat Nickel Corporation proposes to appropriate water from unnamed tributary to Taylor Creek, which is tributary to Baldface Creek, which flows into the North Fork Smith River, a national wild and scenic river. The project is also within the watershed of two other tributaries to the North Fork Smith River, Diamond Creek and Fall Creek. The North Fork Smith River is one of the three forks that feed into and make up the Smith River, which flows through Del Norte County, California to the coast. The Smith River is the indirect source for Crescent City's municipal water system, which serves approximately 14,000 people. The quality of the water extracted from the Smith River, as well as the quantity of water in the Smith River, are paramount to the importance to providing safe, reliable drinking water to the residents of Crescent City and the surrounding areas. The appropriation and use of water for drilling exploration from tributaries to the North Fork Smith River raises significant concerns for the city as to the project's impacts on both the quality and quantity of water in the Smith River. First, the city is troubled that the ODWR is approving an aspect of the project prior to the completion of an environmental assessment. Without such an environmental assessment, the city is concerned that this project has the potential to negatively impact the water quality of the North Fork Smith River and therefore the quality of the city's municipal water system. At this point, there is no environmental documentation for staff to review. Second, the California State Water Resources Control Board has declared the Smith River to be fully appropriated year-round. If new water licenses are issued along the tributaries to the Smith River, the flow of the Smith River will be impacted. Due to the potential for this project and its associated appropriation of water from the tributaries to the North Fork Smith River, the City Council of the City of Crescent City opposes the approval of this water license pending the appropriate environmental review by the United States Forest Service. If you have any questions, you may contact Eugene Palazzo, City Manager, and it goes on. So the reason I read that is in your public comments, you may want to take that into consideration as you make your comments. So we're going to open this back up for public comment again. Raise your hand if you want to come for public comment. Yes. Come on up.
Eileen Cooper. I greatly appreciate this motion of opposition to the proposed water taking, and I would just urge you to be as assertive as possible. This is the first action in a very, very serious struggle we are going to have, and it's not going to be easy to win this struggle. Unfortunately, the 1872 Mining Act makes the Forest Service a slave to mining and doesn't allow NEPA and environmental review to restrict mining as it should. And so we are right now in the baby steps of an immense struggle that is going to be very difficult to win. And perhaps one of the strongest arguments we have is this angle about water and water quality. Aside from the Forest Service, that the Department of Environmental Quality in Oregon was required to review this as well and didn't. And if we're going to rely on the Forest Service to stop this, we can't. If we're going to rely on NEPA to stop this, we can't. That has not been the history in this country. When you look at the sad story of other communities where everyone has come out against a mining project and still it continues. So I urge you to work with our representatives and make sure that what has to happen in Congress to protect this river happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. Okay, are there any other public comments related to this? Yes.
Yeah, my name is Don Gillespie, and I'm speaking for the Friends of Del Norte, a local environmental group. And yeah, I'm very pleased to see the ordinance you're you're suggesting. I think you're covering some great concerns that all of us have, and it's obvious that fresh water is a concern. I think you'd be wise to mention the economic aspects of this community and how it's tied into the fisheries and recreational value of our Smith River. And as Mr. Wurschel mentioned, nickel mining, open pit mining of most sorts is one of the most highly toxic aspects we can see in our watershed. And so if this water permit leads to an open pit mine in the future, certainly, we all know water runs downhill. And if there's pollution in the upper North Fork of the Smith, even though it's in Oregon, it's going to affect us in a very negative way. I see the economic aspect of this happening in Oregon. You're going to have Gold Beach be a center for economic activity. If there is the smelter proposed would benefit Cave Junction, Oregon, possibly O'Brien. I really don't see an economic benefit of any of this mine coming to Del Norte County, and I've looked hard to find one. So I appreciate your stance. I hope all of you vote as the letter was written, and I vote in favor of it. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gillespie. Other public comments?
Connie Wesson from the county. Along that same vein, our elected officials have repeatedly written to the Obama administration requesting that the Secretary of the Interior withdraw these from withdraw these areas from mining, but the administration has not acted. The longer the gridlock ensues, the more advantageous the mining companies gain, advantages they gain, and the soaring price of nickel adds to the ever-growing threat of large-scale polluting mines. Wall Street has no concept of people, especially people on the West Coast. They do have a concept of companies in stock growth. There have been a lot of local concerns voiced in the Gold Beach area, Red Flat, and the Smith River watershed, Baldface. The Curry Board of Commissioners passed a resolution opposing mining at Red Flat up Hunter Creek, and local resident Dave Lacey has gathered signatures of a petition against the mine. And it's just trying to be as squeaky as you can and just oppose it with every breath, because as Eileen was saying, who we rely on to protect us doesn't have a voice in this. And I think these are foreign companies from, I don't get it.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, you had your hand?
Hi, Ellie Kimbauer, county resident. I just want to say to you all, thank you so much for being willing to stand up and send the message you're sending in your letter. I am so relieved and so appreciative. My question, however, is this. Does the council have is there any way that the council can say to not even enter into an environmental review? In other words, to send the message clearly of a no, this is something that we don't even need to be reviewing environmentally, et cetera. Does the council have that kind of option?
I don't know offhand. We'd have to refer to council, but
we can say whatever we want. But it's probably going to be more impactful if we encourage them to follow the process before they even go down that road.
Okay, and it doesn't necessarily then lend itself to, as though we're suggesting that, okay, come up with this environmental review and we'll take a look at it and then we'll decide. It doesn't necessarily lead people's thinking along those lines. I'm just kind of...
I don't know. I think they're dealing with that 1880s mining law, and it's pretty permissive, but we will do what we can to stop it. But an environmental review would go a long way to doing that, I think.
Okay, and I just thank you to so much of you all in the community, too, who are articulate and knowledgeable, so thank you.
Thank you for coming to the podium. Public comments? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Linda Whitfoot. I'm from Klamath, and listening to what you said earlier was, depending on what the Forest Service said, would be how you make your decision. And because of the law, maybe the Forest Service is being held hostage and has to go down a route of, yes, we have to accept that they can mine. I hope that you can stand up and say, no, do not destroy our water. Do not use 10 gallons per minute, which equates to 600 gallons per hour, which equates to 14,400 per day of our water. And then it could also be filled with toxins. This area is pristine. People from around the world come here to de-stress, to fish. It will destroy our birds. It will destroy our fish. It will destroy us. It will destroy our economy. I hope you can stand up no matter what anybody says and say, no mining in our area, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, other public comments? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm Donna Thompson, and I live in the county. And thank you for what you're doing. Yes, I really approve. I just think that it's a no-brainer, that it's not a good thing. Even just the trial, I think it's 56 holes, or 56 feet deep for 56 holes, I don't know. But it's a lot. And it's a no-brainer. You don't have to say, pending the environmental report. You can just stop it. We're not in favor of this, and I wish you would do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janet Gilbert. I live in the county, but I receive city water. I'm very concerned. I agree with the comments that have all been made. I agree that pending an environmental review leaves some wiggle room. Environmental reviews are only as good as the scientists, the team that writes it. And I ask that you perhaps consider setting aside a fund at this point to budget for your own environmental defense legal system that can go through the review, that can corroborate or disclaim the review as presented, because again, environmental impact reports, environmental reviews are often full of gaps, and it takes an expert to dig into it themselves and find where the holes and the flaws are in the review process. So I'd encourage you to consider this a long-term battle, and this is the first stage to send a letter of opposition, but that we need to get our ducks in a row to fight this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Henry, the county, but I also use your water. I love the quality of it, and I love the cost, so thank you very much. But I also have concerns about the portion in your letter that does kind of leave it, I think, a little wishy-washy about how you feel, pending environmental review, maybe, might change your mind. I don't think you will. And I would really like to encourage you to make some really strong statements. And what I found online is comments from Earthworks that wrote in the December deadline period about, I think, the other plan that's already had some environmental review, but they also mentioned this one. And they really like the way they make their comments, and I'd like to just give you a couple. I love to see them in the letter. They're just very definitive in opposing the strip mining. And they say things like the Forest Service should conduct an environmental assessment because extraordinary circumstances exist that preclude categorical exclusion. And the Forest Service should conduct an EA, environmental assessment, to disclose and analyze the potential impacts of proposed exploration activities and cumulative effects of previous and future activities in the region on fragile soils, rare plants, and rare plant wetlands in the Red Flat area. And I really like this point. The Forest Service should submit a proposal to withdraw the Red Flat area from mineral entry and protect outstanding botanical resources. So I think for me, that kind of statement, I can give you a copy of this, that very proactive, strong statements is what I would like to see in a letter instead of just, well, we'll wait and see what you're going to do, and then, because I think for all of us, just even the exploration can cause problems, and we can't just wait around for that. And I think for all of us, the Smith River is really almost a personal issue. Many of us who've grown up here, we swam in it, we've had picnics next to it. To me, it's a really emotional issue, and to have anything like this happen to me, is just revolting. So I hope you will take a really strong stand on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we go any further with the public comment, I wonder if the people here would be satisfied if we amended our letter to have some stronger language. We didn't have very much time to respond to this. We didn't have very much notice. So we thought we were doing the best we could, but we don't have very much. We have to get this done tomorrow. So if the people here would be happy with us amending it to include some stronger language, such as Ms. Henry suggested, and I would also like to include a copy to Senators Feinstein, Boxer, and Congressman Huffman. I did notify his staff in Eureka, John Driscoll, that we had it on our agenda tonight. Would you all be happy with that? Would everybody that would be happy with that raise your hand? Okay, and so we wouldn't, I mean, I don't want to squelch your public comment, but that means our staff could go home a little earlier tonight and they would be a little more refreshed so that they could get this letter out and Mayor Hawley could sign it in the morning. Would that be satisfactory with everybody? Thank you, Kathy.
Well, I personally think everybody that wants to speak should have a right to speak.
I'm asking, I'm taking a survey
Well,
here.
I think it was overwhelmingly that we move forward in that way, but let's continue with the public
If
comment.
people want to talk, yeah, they can, but I'm just asking if that would be, would that make you guys, would you be happy with that?
Elizabeth, is it a procedural question? What's your question?
Yeah, I just, Catherine read off.
Would you please go to the podium?
You read off the contacts or who the letter might be sent to. Also, it should go to Senators Merkley and Wyden. I think they're really important. They have worked on this issue for a long time. I called their offices in Bend today, but
and we will do that. I think also the governors of both states should be advised as well. So
yeah, because they're really trying to help on this issue.
Thank you.
So.
We'll fine tune that and we'll get it out to significant others. Okay.
Mr. Nielsen
Yes.
as well.
Mr. Nielsen, okay. So any other public comments? Someone that hasn't had an opportunity to come up already? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Nancy Powers, County Gasky, and I'm hearing that it's an indirect water source, the Smith is, to Crescent City. And I just want to say, as far as I know...
It's direct.
Oh, I thought I heard indirect.
The tributaries are the indirect.
Oh, okay, okay. I just want to say that when I write my check out to the Community Service District in Gasky, that it's actually direct. It's our direct source. I just wanted to go on record. Thank you.
I agree with you.
Thank you. Other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council for comments or questions or modifications. Yes.
I agreed with Mr. Gillespie in that I think that one of the most significant impacts outside of the quality of our water is the economic impact. We rely heavily on tourism that is heavily reliant on salmon and steelhead fishing in the Smith River, and not just tourism, but folks like me that appreciate that, and that's one of the reasons that I live here. So I think the economic impacts are one of the top three impacts that this project could affect. I also wanted to ask, the Board of Supervisors, the letter that was directed to them asked them to send a letter to the Wild Rivers Ranger District. And ours is directed to the people in Salem, and I thought maybe we should address it to both.
Okay. Yeah, we can check into that as well. Any
That was
other?
it for me.
Okay.
Thank you for everybody's
Other
input.
comments?
Just, I think we're all in consensus about sending the letter with suggested amendments. And
Yeah, I had one suggestion too. In the letter, we talk about serving approximately 14,000 people, but having just been in downtown Crescent City on July 4th, I think there's probably hundreds of thousands of people that come through here and taste our water as they go through. So maybe some comment about the amount of recreational travel we have rolling through here might be beneficial. So
I had a couple comments, if I could. You know, if we want to send the letter with those words, I mean, that's fine. But we have to remember we're dealing with the federal government. This is an 1872 law. I think by far the most important thing is this is drinking water for several thousand people. And this is just, somebody said it, this is just one step or several. And if we start by being too, I don't know if outspoken is the word, but we need to meet them at every chance we can. And I think the drinking water is the most important that's going to catch their attention, because those are people's lives. The fishing's important, the scenic is important. We have in our letter that the Smith River is a wild and scenic river. That's federal. And so there's two federal agencies that are going to be arguing with each other. I just wanted to say that it's, we can do the letter if you want to do it that way, but we're going to have several more letters and several more actions in the future to deal with, because this is not going to stop it. And they're going to come back, like people have said. And so we don't want to use all of our ammunition, I would think, on things. We'll just take it as it comes on the points.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nia. Other questions or comments, Mr. Gastineau?
You know, the comment that it's a no-brainer, I mean, I came to this meeting and definitely we're going to send this letter. And I do believe maybe a little bit stronger language in it should be in it. And I mean, I'm going to be in the Gasky Raft Race this coming weekend. Everybody recreates on the Smith River, fishes in the Smith River. It is the lifeblood of this county, and we have to do everything we protect it. On the city side, I mean, our first obligation is to protect our water sources, and with upcoming drought and everything like that, this is going to be very important for us. And this is how the city can make its point that we need to protect our water, is through our water supply, our municipal water supply. So that's why this letter is directed like that, to address that particular concern. And to get the environmental ball rolling, to do the process correctly, I think this letter is right on target to do that. And hopefully they do a good job on the environmental impact statement. But like Eileen said, we do need to keep on them and make sure that we keep the fight up. So, okay, let's
thank you.
Send the letter.
You know, we brought it back, I think, to the, I think we're going to close public comment at this time, okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, public comment is complete, and we're going to bring this back here. We have a letter before us that I understand you want to have some modifications, and I don't know if staff has enough information to make those modifications. Do you feel comfortable?
I guess at this point, you know, there's a lot of discussion. I think some direct, you know, policy direction. You know, what I'm hearing is, you know, a little stronger language based on one of the public comments on what was in a previous letter to the Forest Service. We can take a look at that, and we can add that, you know, language, you know, at council direction. I'm also hearing, you know, some copies of this letter going to you know, different legislators: Nielsen, Boxer, Huffman, Feinstein, Oregon, Wyden, and Merkley, I believe, was stated, and the governors, you know, come strong direction on that. So if we just get that policy direction, we can do some amendments and get this
Mr.
letter
Mayor,
out.
I suggest we do that, and then maybe you could look at that letter tomorrow before
Yes,
it's sent.
I'll be glad to go to City Hall, and we'll...
And one of the things I do like that, I was notified earlier this evening that the director that the letter is addressed to may have retired or no longer working there, so we need to take a look at that.
Just
Make
like
sure
Apollo, huh?
we get it to the right person. So we'll be looking at that in the morning as well, making sure that we get it. There's another letter in the packet that's addressed to an acting director, Tom Hall. So we need to take a look at that.
Within the Wild Rivers Ranger District as well.
And Wild Rivers, and CC, Wild Rivers Ranger District, right.
Okay, so we'll make those modifications and we'll get that letter out. Again, we only had less than a couple of weeks to even get this on the agenda, and I appreciate those that send us emails telling us to go forward. So do we just want to have a motion to approve a letter be sent? Would that make sense?
I don't think.
We just
I think I have the consensus
okay,
with that, and if you just give staff direction, we can move forward.
Okay, so a letter will go out, and thank you all for being here tonight on that item. So, thank you.
It's not very often we get a room full of applause.
Yeah, stick around. Okay.
Come back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we just have one more, actually, if you'd like to go, you may, and we just have a couple. Yeah,
Continue.
But the meeting is not yet over, so.
Go ahead.
Speaking of environmental issues, that's a big one, so thank you. City Manager, did you have something?
I was just going to say that there's a webinar being presented by the California League of Cities on the impact of film on cities or for cities, and I've spoken to Sarah about that, and she's going to do a little more research and get back to me, but I thought it would be a good resource for our film commission to have access to that, and she's actually more interested in maybe having our film commission provide them with information, so which would be great. So
Okay.
she's gonna.
Is this a recent email or is that?
Today.
Yeah,
Okay,
today.
I'll take a look at that and
Yeah.
I'll try and coordinate that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe we could see if Cassandra Hesseltine wants to come to the social reception in Blue Lake Friday. I could email her.
Yeah, might be in the area. Okay. So nothing else on legislative matters. Moving on to City Manager report and council directives, City Council directives. Mr.
I
Palazzo,
don't have
anything else?
anything to report.
Okay, good. So moving into council reports. We'll start from this end. Mr. Ania.
Went into a solid waste meeting last week, a special meeting, filling in for Mr. Gastineau, and went to a couple chamber mixers, and other than that, celebrated the 4th of July for about 5 days.
Okay.
Might have been 4, but I think it was 5.
Thank you. Kelly.
I was completely inundated with 4th of July activities. I chaired the 4th of July parade, as well as the 4th of July 3rd annual barbecue wars. So I was a very busy girl, also tended bar at the deck party. And based on the income we received, we determined we served about 3,800 drinks in 4 hours. And I think that's probably why I'm still tired a week later. We had a really great celebration. We think that just about every participant made more money or saw more people, and not just at the 4th of July celebration, but throughout the community. We've heard back a lot of positive comments. The deck party was really wonderful this year. It was, I think, very well attended. We had about 4 class reunions over the weekend, which also brings up the attendance, but there were absolutely no problems this year. It was just a really great celebration. And I would just like to say kudos to our city fire department who won the water ball competition. I understand they beat out my son with Fort Dick Fire, but I'm always out there rooting for the city, so good job, guys. They represent us well. One other little thing I wanted to mention is just something to put on your calendar. The Child Care Council is having a new rendition of Jammin' It Jed, but called Rockin' It Rowdy, and it will be held on September 6th. So if you want to put that on your calendar. And I don't know if all of you knew Dapper Dutch Strayman he was DJ for K-Pod Radio for, I think, about 20 years, and he passed away. And he was a very dear friend of mine, and so just wanted to mention that. Pretty great guy. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Councilmember Murray.
Let's see. I had a Redwood executive conference call meeting regarding the resolution for the illegal marijuana grows that I mentioned on earlier. And let's see, we had LAFCO on the 23rd, where we did our final steps for taking the fairgrounds into a special district, and now it's up to them to make the final touches on that and do the public relations part for the fairgrounds for the special districts. I did attend the solid waste meeting that Councilmember Ania mentioned, and we had a special BACRA meeting for we had to do a resolution for the purchasing of Bay Meadows on the 26th, and And then that's about it. And then we have the last meeting for me being president of the Redwood Empire Division, except for our annual meeting in September on this Friday in Blue Lake.
Thank you, Kathy.
All right. I had an awesome 4th of July. It was fun. I want to thank the city crews. You guys did a great job getting the park and the downtown all together. You guys did an awesome job. Barbecue Wars were awesome too. I got to sample some of the food. You got to make me a judge next time. If you make me a judge, I won't, do the parade announcement for you.
Ron was awesome. I had a parade announcer not able to make it at the last minute, so Mr. Gastineau stepped right up to the plate and fit in nicely. He was right at home.
We might have to patch some relations with the Board of Supervisors. I made some comments to the chair.
Yeah.
So. And also, sorry, Mr. Ania, for making fun of you for being in your wife's car, because you're not that cool.
Thanks for repeating.
Sure, not a problem. I also want to comment on the county doing a great job on Pebble Beach Drive. I actually drove it today for the first time in about a month, and I think they got it together before the 4th of July festivities. So that was a good boon to the county to be able to have all our tourists go up and down that in our city, go in and out. So good job, county. I don't know if they're 100% done with it. Are they, Eric? All right, but it looks great. It's all striped and nice pavement. The whole thing is good, and it have walking ways on both sides, so it's good for pedestrians. And I want to tell everybody to come to the Gasky Raft Races. It's coming July 12th. It's the 45th annual raft race, and I will be in it, so you can throw water balloons at me if you're there. My family started in Gasky, and so I also have family in Gasky, so it's a big thing for me to do that. So hopefully everybody.
Mr. Ania invited us to throw rocks at you.
Rocks. That'll work too. Thank you. So everybody also have a fun and safe summer. So I will be seeing you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay, well, I can't make it to the Gasky Raft Race, but I was wondering if I could come over to your house and throw water balloons at you the day before. I attended the Redwood Transit meeting as an alternate, and that's always interesting. Solid Waste Management Authority meeting, and it was mostly actually discussing short and long-term goals. And so it's the beginning of a longer discussion, but we will be dealing with that on a regular basis. Attended my meeting of the Senior Center board, and we're still dealing with budget and budget issues. And then finally, I was in the 4th of July parade with Mr. Finnegan, who rode in the back of my truck with me. He sat, I stood. I think I looked way better standing than he looked sitting. And I did watch the water bowl competition, and Mr. Weir was a star. And it's a dynasty, as I understand, right? 5, 6 years? Just 5 years.
And if anybody got it on video, I would love to see it, because my son did not tell me he was in it. I'm very upset about that. I would love to see it.
Yeah, you guys, her son was on the other side, and
almost beat them, the young buck that he is.
Okay. I just wanted somebody to feel bad, and I wasn't sure who. Okay, thank you all. And so that is the end of our city council meeting. We will adjourn to Monday, July 21st, 2014 at 5 o'clock here, but the actual general meeting will be at 6 o'clock on July 21st. So thank you for being here, and especially those of you who stayed to the bitter end. Thank you.